All right, stream should be started. I think we're all set.
All right. Well, this might be a little bit shorter than normal just because there's almost only so much coughing that I want to do on camera. Um, but yeah, welcome back to the Pike Bong podcast. Um, it's really nice to see everybody.
Boom! I have that in the description. I added that because I didn't know what a pike bomb was. I just assumed it was some kind of bomb that explodes.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have pipe bombs, which is basically like they have a metal pipe and then ex they put a bomb, make a bomb out of it. But a pike bomb is when they have the fish, the pike, they put explosives inside of that.
Is that a real thing? Wait, so a pike is a fish?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I don't know if I've ever heard of the pike fish.
You ever
It
heard of
sounds
Pike Place
familiar.
Market? Pike Place Market?
Yeah, I know where that is. I didn't know it was named after a fish though. It's named
Yep.
after the pike.
Uh-huh.
What if it means though you're not putting a bomb in a fish? What if you're just a terrorist?
Yeah, that's always a risk when you're dealing with bombs.
Yeah, like imagine somebody makes a bomb that's for the Pike Place Market and they call it the Pike bomb.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
So do you shoot bow and arrows or what's up with this?
No, I just I just have this hat.
Yeah, where'd it come from?
So it's kind of it's not a very interesting story, but I'll tell. So I went over to Grandpa and Grandma's house, right? And I we basically my grandpa bought a bow, and he was like, "I got this bow," and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And he was like, you can help me as like it's got some problems with it. We need to fix this bow." And I'm like, "All right, we're gonna fix this bow." And then the bow came with two hats, and he was like, "I don't need two hats. Do you want this one?" And I was like, "Okay," and I took it. And now I just have this bow tech hat.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah,
and
that is interesting.
yeah, well, I wasn't even wearing it at first. Like the weird thing is, I just like usually I'm not a hat front forward kind of guy. I never was. But this kind of like it kind of like looked like it's like a coach hat. Like it reminded me of like a coach hat, and I was just like, you got to wear this front face. And I honestly like this week's been terrible for me. Like I hate my class schedule. I haven't like showered in 3 days. I've just been throwing on a hat
Damn,
every day.
damn, dude. Wait, so you usually wear backwards hats? Is that what you're saying?
No. I used to, but that's kind of like I don't like when like a certain style starts to have a certain stereotype behind it. It starts to bother me. Like you probably know I used to like wear fedoras and things like that. But then like there used to be like the like it just started to get gross where it's like, oh, someone else like takes the style and makes it weird, and then I'm like, I don't want to wear that anymore. So I don't wear those because that's like, I hate it. And then the backwards hat like turned into this weird like kind of like bro kind of thing, and I'm like, no, I don't want no, get that away from me. And so now I just wear it front facing. And beanies are still okay, I think. Sometimes if you wear the Tim Pool look, it's a little bit dangerous, but
Yeah, it can't be too tight.
yeah, maybe like
Yeah,
a
dude,
little
but
hair
come
down,
on.
which makes it better. It's
Come on. Just because someone has a fedora doesn't mean that you know anything about them.
well, yeah, but
Come on, dude.
I know, but it's like the you know like how like people like have like the stereotype image, and
Yeah,
like
who cares?
I know, but for some reason in my mind, like whenever I see like someone else with a certain style and they do something that kind of makes me like go, oh, like makes me like kind of cringe a little bit. I have to distance like, and but it's only if I
Okay.
see it enough. Like if I see it repeated like a number of times, and that style becomes like some kind of like precipice for like the group of people that act in that way, I start being like, I gotta change it up a little bit.
Okay, so what is people with fedoras doing that you had to avoid?
Well, like there was like the whole thing where like it was like the nice guy where it's like my lady and it's like tips the fedora, and kind of like it was all these guys who like would get really mad online and they'd be like, so almost like kind of like started becoming an incel kind of a like hat. And then I was like, oh, I don't like this hat.
What?
And it did. It
I
kind
don't
of
get it.
like
So
became
being
kind of a
respectful to women is you're avoiding that. Is that
no,
what you're
no,
saying?
no, no. It's like this was a specific like they called it like it's not when you're like being a nice guy is good, right? But this is like being like a like it's like the kind of guy who does something nice and expects something in return. Like they're doing something nice, but they're expecting like sex in return, and then it's the type of guy who gets mad because they think they've been like being so nice that they somehow like just immediately deserve something like that. And it's those kind of guys. I think like it used to be called like white knight is what people called them like online, but then like it kind of evolves into incel territory once they get like angry and stuff. And I was like, this style is like looking like some people call them like call them the neck beards, and I just didn't. This was a long time ago when I gave up the fedora too. I when that started happening, I was like, I got to get out of here. I wore it
So
because
nothing.
like,
So you were nothing in real life informed you. This is all on the internet.
well, like yeah, I guess
You didn't see
I don't
anybody
think.
else wearing a fedora,
I didn't
huh?
see it in person, I guess. You know, it is a stupid thing because, like, I could still wear a fedora and not be one of those guys, right?
Hmm.
But you know at the same time that other people are gonna just be like thinking it a little bit, right? And then like it stained the style a bit for me, and I feel like it's a good reason to move on. But I don't like styles that are associated with a certain group. Sometimes I don't like that. I don't like association. I don't like being defined as like anything. I like to mix it up. I like to do something that's either I want to blend into like just like no classification, or I want to do something that's outside of that box. I don't want to be looped into a certain like I don't want to be looped into a certain group. I don't like it. I don't like that.
Yeah, but you're okay. Do you mind if I ask some more questions about this?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a person, right? And you're in this group of persons that um just choose to wear clothes. Okay. There are certain groups that don't. So by definition, by choosing to be somebody who wears clothes, you're in that group already. Do you know that?
I mean, yeah. I but that's what I mean like blending in is okay. Like again, the cap like just like average, that's fine. Either I want to stand out a little bit or I don't I want to wear something that doesn't put me into like one very specific narrow group, especially if that group has like a negative connotation around it. I'm like I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
like
but
that.
dude, okay. So by definition, a group is exclusionary, and therefore it will have to somebody a negative connotation.
Yeah, but some like are more so, you know what I mean? Like some are like when like everyone like a majority of people go, "Oh, that group kind of being a little bit nasty right now." Then it's kind of
Yeah, but
I don't
there's no
want
such
that.
thing as there's I guess the relative majority is what you're saying.
Yeah, relative majority, but even like any group, I just don't like I don't like being like I don't like the classification of it. Like I'll tell you this. Maybe I would wear a fedora. Like I used to only wear a fedora when I'd wear like a nicer shirt. I would never wear it with like a t-shirt. And I feel like the standard is like a t-shirt and the fedora, but I still just don't wear the fedora. But maybe if I was like wearing like a suit, maybe, but even then it's like I don't know. I don't know. It's got to be different. It's got to be different enough, you know?
Yeah, yeah, there's classification, but like there's no what I was trying to say is like the majority thing, right? So you have like the people at your university, that's the group, right? Or the people who the small slice of humanity that you interact with and perceive online, in those two settings, you don't want to do anything that is, generally speaking, associating with one of those groups that have a negative connotation.
Yeah. I think like I'm okay with like mixing like you like a little bit of identification like like wearing like certain clothing types or like even like if someone was like gonna wear something that's branded it's already kind of like verging on the group thing and that's fine I'm okay with that but once there's like something that becomes like this is a symbol of this group. Like this has become something where people see that and they go, "Ah, you must be a part of this group, possibly." Like maybe. And then I'm like, "I don't like that." Now it's too certain. I like you like a little bit of an assumption is fine, but once it goes into the territory where they're making a pretty like educated guess based off of it cuz not many people wear it except for that group, then I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to do that anymore." No.
So you'd rather somebody think that you're just bland than think you're anything?
Well, there's different ways to like spice up a look, but sometimes I'm going for the bland look. Like today, I haven't showered in 3 days. I'm not feeling good. I'm throwing on this cap and I'm walking past. I'm not trying
Dude,
to stand out. I'm
but hold on. You you look more than ever like, I'm telling you, to me, you look more than ever like you're part of a certain group,
what
like
group?
right now.
Wait, what group am I a part of?
I think what are they calling them? Uh, you look like one of those guys. So you look one of those. Do you know who Cameron Haynes is?
No.
You look like one of these guys. You know who David Goggins is?
No, I don't think I know who he is either.
He's the crazy guy that's just like, suck it up, just do it. And he's like running ultra marathons, and he's running marathons. Like, ultra marathons are like 100 miles. He'll run them. One of them, he broke bones in his foot and he kept running.
My
And he's just
God.
like, he's basically, it doesn't matter how much pain I feel, I'm gonna do whatever I set out to do. So there's a bunch of these guys online, right? And it's kind of, there's this, it has like this conservative leaning, and there's like a lot of guys who like, carnivore diet guys that are like, lifting weights. They're into like performance martial arts kind of guys. You look like one of those guys. You look like somebody who watches those guys.
Oh no, I'm seeing it now a little bit actually. Now with like the hat, but they wouldn't wear something like this. I feel like this would be something that they'd stay away from. They'd stay away from this sweater. The hat, I feel
Well,
like
I
they'd
don't
wear
want
the
to ruin
hat,
this.
but
I don't want to ruin this for you, but you, for some reason, there's like I think it has nothing to do with the clothes. Honestly, it's more about like the way you're carrying yourself. It's sort of just like, you know, hard set. The way you were talking about walking through campus. I don't give a fuck. It's like that kind of mentality.
well, it's not like it's only because I haven't showered in 3 days. That's the only reason why I'm like that's the only reason why the hat's going on, and I'm like going into a stealth mode because I'm like I haven't showered in 3 days, and I'm like I just gotta get to class.
Yeah, yeah. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, they probably, yeah, yeah. Because they might wear that shirt though. Because um you know it's all about like biohacking to those guys. You know what I'm saying? And like, the they like science, but they're not waiting for science to catch up. And so there's like these cool like meditation and like, the Asian culture. There's a lot to glean in terms of performance. Um, and like the martial arts guys, the Asian, they like all those guys are into fighting and stuff. And there's a lot of, you know, martial arts from Asia. So, especially, I don't know, you've been like, eating a lot extra protein, or like your shoulders look bigger right now. So
Oh, I haven't been eating extra protein or anything, but
No, not lifting weights or anything.
no, I'm telling you, it's been bad this quarter. This is a bad start. It's bad. It was not bad in like bad in like every other way, like other than like I'm just making it through the classes.
Yeah,
I
but
haven't
how
showered
many
in three
weeks is it?
days.
How many weeks has it been?
It's been this is the third week.
Of 10?
I think it might be a little bit longer, possibly than 10, but yeah, otherwise that would be out of 10. That's concerning. Well, at least it's going by fast, but oh god.
Yeah, dude. Well, so this is the thing. Those guys, see, maybe you could benefit from this. Keep wearing that hat. Those guys, they do stuff that they don't want to be doing, but they do ice baths. They do you know, intense exercise. Um, they're sweating all the time, and so there's tremendous value in doing stuff you don't want to be doing and exercising at the same time.
I mean that one guy, he ran until he broke his foot. Sounds
And he
like that
kept going.
guy's
There was still 40 miles left.
that guy might be going a little bit like extreme if you ask me. Like that you're just asking for foot damage.
Yeah, he's had
Permanent
so many
foot damage.
Yeah. No, he is. But he has to be that guy. Because somebody has to be the most extreme guy.
Mm.
So he's not the one. He doesn't wear hats. He's bald. He used to be almost 400 pounds, and then he went to the military and now he's just a superhuman. But like, so some of these guys, the carnivore guys, they're into hunting, but they're into bow hunting.
Oh.
Okay, so
Oh, that's
they
why. The
they have
hat.
they have bow hunting, compound bows that they go out. They'll hunt elk. They'll cut the elk up in nature. They'll pack it out. They'll be carrying hundreds of pounds worth of elk out, over treacherous terrain. Um, so yeah, man. Again, the exercising, doing something that's hard, and they're um, what was I gonna say? Now you seriously that the headphones looks like you had a neck gaiter on for a second. You look like you're gonna be in the military, dude. So they're doing something hard. Um, oh, and they have to contend with there's a mountain lions out there, and mountain lions are deadly.
Damn. Wait, what do I look like now though?
Yeah, like if you put your headphones around your neck again,
Yeah.
you look like you're like a sniper. You could be in the military as a sniper.
What Hey. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, but do that again, but then hold up like you're holding like a sniper rifle
Okay.
and then aim it at the camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't make it past. You wouldn't make it very far in the academy.
I probably wouldn't. I I don't think I would. I wouldn't. I don't want to. Well, I don't want to be the guy who does like the war crimes. I'm gonna go with this look. I don't want to be shooting like children in the Middle East. I'd rather be shooting elk in the woods. That's a better. I'll keep the bow tech look.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, it's okay. And that's, you could look like many things, but I don't know. Just playing with this idea of, that groups exist, and Yeah, I guess they do. I guess they do in in theory. And so yeah.
You
I mean,
can't
there's
get away
no
from it. It
you're
is true.
white. You're a white dude, and I'm sure there's a lot of white people at your school, but I mean, you got a beard.
True.
Um, you are in a group even if you don't look like you're in a group. People put you in, you know, they'll assume that you're like a male-bodied person. Um,
I
they'll
want to
assume
make
all
it
sorts of
as difficult as possible, though. That's why I don't wear this hat every day, too. I want to keep people guessing. Never let them know your next move, you know?
Now you
Exactly.
sound like one of these you sound like one of these guys. That's martial arts training,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I did that on purpose. I have
Okay,
to admit, I did do that on
okay.
purpose. But, but yeah, no, it's inescapable that someone's gonna like pass judgment on you, but I don't want to I don't want to just fit into a group super
Why?
easily, you know?
Why? Why does it matter?
I don't know. I just I don't know. I don't want to be fit into a group that like has bad connotations especially, but as for any other group, I just I just want to like have some kind of a little bit of uniqueness or blandness to where I blend in and it's still hard. Like either so like out in the other direction where people are like I can't really piece this together. It's so out there, or like so plain and just like in the middle of the crowd where they're like I can't really tell what group he's so in the middle there, you know? I don't want to fall too defined into any group, but a little bit of assumptions are fine. A little bit of like a little bit is okay.
Why do you want to be why do you want people to question?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I don't like being grouped into like I like groups, but I don't like I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the assumption of a group. Like groups are good, like the community and like you know a sense of like collectivism. That's great, but I don't like the assumption, like someone assuming of like these people are over here and this group is over here and this group is like over here and they're separate from that group. I no, I don't like it. I don't know why, but I don't.
Yeah, dude, but you're kind of because I've been going through this too. This is you're fucked. You are fucked, dude. You cannot avoid it. It's you're fucked, dude, and that's okay.
No,
But you know, you don't need to put so much emphasis on it because, again, as I said, you're fucked. You're gonna be you're gonna be put into a category, even if you are the most bland person or obscure.
well, it's not like okay. It's not like that. I haven't like I've never made any real like big stylistic changes because of that. The fedora is the only piece of clothing that I've ever stopped wearing. I've stopped like wearing my hats backwards. Sometimes I do though, actually. No, there's a few episodes where I do. Sometimes I do. I just now wear it front forward now. Like equally roughly half of the time. So I don't know. I think it's I don't know if I did that unconsciously or not, but because I would always wear it backwards. Now I sometimes wear it forward, but I don't know if that's accidental. But I can tell you for a fact me stopping wearing the fedoras that was purposeful. That was me saying like I can't. I thought to myself one day I was like I don't want to wear these anymore.
Yeah. Yep. Because there's no way for you to tell people that you're like people will get to know you, right? And then it doesn't really matter what you're wearing, but um dude, in Oakland, they like this is like where the Black Panthers originated, and like I'm just using that as an example. Like it's like the most progressive place on the planet, perhaps. um, so like things are starting here. There's burgeoning ideas, and I think I had several people come and tell me that I'm a cis male, and that's cool. But I've had to do a lot of research on this, right? So what a cis male is somebody that identifies with um their biological sex. Okay? So if I'm a male-bodied person and I identify as male. So if somebody were to come up to me and talk to me, and they don't, and we just have a conversation about anything but what I identify as, they're not going to be able to determine whether I'm a cis male or not. Okay? So even though that's true, I have people coming up to me and telling me that I'm a cis male. Okay?
Wait, are they
I
like making an assumption, and so they're coming up to you and saying, are they just guessing?
Yeah, but so number one, they don't understand what that category even means. So first and foremost, they don't even know for you what wearing a fedora really means. There's not a unified opinion on it. Okay, but for me, they're coming up and saying, "Oh, I've had such my. I'm so happy that people in our school, the cis males are so nice. I've had negative experiences in the past. That's
Oh,
great.
okay. Yeah,
They're
that's
trying
what
to
they
give me
mean. Yeah.
they're trying to give me a compliment, right?
Yeah.
But that's wrong.
Oh, because they're
So
making
if
an
it
assumption, right? They're still
because
like
they're
doing
making an
it.
assumption.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So it's not like wrong that like they are, I guess they're misinformed, but it's just technically wrong. And then so also I had another one when I was like running a meeting, and like one of the people in the back, they were like, "Hey, like can we have someone that's not a cis male run this meeting?" You know? So okay, great. So you're making this assumption, and I look, I have a beard, and like I have a deep voice, right? That's great. So 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 they're gonna think that, but they're wrong, and I'm fucked because I it's way easier to have a beard than not have a beard. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not gonna change my voice, any of this shit. So I thought about having to changing my pronouns just so that people would question, something about me, so they wouldn't be making assumptions. But then I guess what? There's I'm fucked because they're still gonna make an assumption. So let's say I change my pronouns to they them. I I don't want those. But if I were to do it just so people would question it, then they would be making an assumption about me, because then they think, oh, I'm I have this mental confusion. I might have mental health problems. They might question what my sexuality is, right? So there's no way out of this.
Well, you'd be lying. You'd have to lie too. Like you'd have to lie every day.
No,
Like
no, no, no,
that would
no,
be.
no, no. It's not a lie. It's not a lie, because it's still, again, not about what my identification is. It's those are just my preferred pronouns. Okay, that doesn't
Okay.
even have anything to that doesn't have anything to do with how you identify. So but do you get the point that even if you wear the fedora or you don't wear the fedora, you're I mean, it's all an analogy.
Yeah, I mean, okay, there's nothing that's gonna stop people from making assumptions. Everyone makes assumptions. That's like it's a normal cognitive function of human beings. But the fedora is like a, you know, when there is like one piece, like one thing, like one item that just is the cornerstone of like, oh, like neckbeard guy, like weird incel guy, like I'm that item, it's gotta go.
Yeah, but this is the same thing. So you have the cornerstone of progressive thinking now is using pronouns, especially in this um where we're located. So so at least they would question it, right? Or they would have this assumption, oh, Jake isn't just like these other straight white cis men, right? They would easily question it. But they're wrong. They're wrong in their initial assumption, and even if I don't wear the fedora, they still think that there's still some think that something is wrong, and that's the problem with groups that you're talking about. But you're fucked, dude, because you're a part of a group, and it's economics, dude. You gotta be in a part of a group to have some differentiation so that you can, you know, have a role in society. It's
I don't like it.
required.
I don't like it.
I know
I
it
don't
sucks,
like it.
but dude, David Goggins would say, "Suck it up, dude."
You know what? I'd throw that guy off a cliff.
Yep, you could
And he'd
try.
probably say the same thing to me, but I mean like I'd outsmart him. He may got a leg up on me if he's like, a big tough guy, but I'd you know what? Because I know the group, he'd be like, suck it up, but I'd be like, I'd get inside of the head. I'd wear my Bowtech cap that day. He's thinking, oh, to see what, and then like he'd see the sweater and he'd be like, that's not really something I would wear though. And then I'd start like dodging, and then yeah, he just end up off a cliff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
great,
And then
great.
the groups wouldn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Well, no, because
Well, dude,
I don't hate groups. Okay, like groups are like somewhat good, but I think like the division of groups, like yeah, collectivism, that all those things are good, but the division of groups, I don't know, just classifications. Sometimes I don't like it. I don't.
yeah, it sucks, but it's the reality, and that's sort of like what I'm coming to understand is that true creativity comes from accepting or seeing clearly what is occurring. And so yeah, that's the reality. People think that I'm a cis man, and that's great. Um, but they don't. But how do I know this? Why did I have to research this? Because they're telling me this thing, right? Oh, Jake, it's so nice to have a cis man. That's so nice. So I'm like, okay, thanks. Dude, I'm just, I just grew up. I'm just a person, okay? I just hanging out with my friends and playing sports. And then now people are saying, okay, Jake, now this is your cis man, okay?
It is kind of strange because I feel like
It's so funny. It's
it's
so
one of
funny,
those things
dude.
you're not. I thought that it was. This is my understanding that you're not supposed to assume. That's supposed to be one of like it, like isn't that supposed to be the idea? Like no one is supposed to assume about someone else unless somebody tells them.
I know, right? I know. So it's still new, right? People are still getting a hang of it. Um, but yes, but when they think it's so obvious, then they don't even, because I mean 5 years ago you weren't even thinking about this, right? So when it's so obvious, then they're not going to question it. But
Yeah. So they end up kind of
but
in the same like.
it's
Yeah,
the same.
they end
It's
up
the
making
same
a
thing.
judgment
So
on someone else, just out of
yeah,
assumption.
and
Yeah.
I don't know, if who they is, but basically a person is now having identification issues in both directions.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? But
Yeah. It
so I
sounds
had to
like
do my
too
research.
that it sounds like that person as well is even in that conversation in the context of it, there was a previous assumption that all cis men acted a certain way, and they're even admitting in this moment that they like something has changed because you've acted a certain way that defies what their expectation is amongst most people who fall into a certain category. It's almost like an irony, but then at the same time they're making an assumption that you are a part of that group and you're acting differently. There's like a multiple layers of assumptions happening within this
Yeah,
conversation. There's so many
yeah,
assumptions.
yeah. Well, at the moment, I had the assumption that they did, that it was that you didn't, that if you didn't say anything that you were, um I don't know. I really had to, I had to do research, dude. I had to go ask all, my younger friends, people who are, in like 20 and 22. Like, I'd ask him, like, like, okay, so they're telling me this, right? I'm a cis man. So, what are they talking? What is that? And they were like, okay, so it's somebody who identifies with their biological sex. Okay. Okay. That's cool. That's great. So we have, um, cis or not, is just this binary thing. Do you identify as that or not? But then now we have preferred pronouns. Okay. So you can be, so you can, let's say you were a cis man, you can still, you identify with that biological sex, you can still request to have alternate pronouns just because that's what your preference is.
Yeah.
So you could be a cis man with they them pronouns.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard of this stuff before. I've heard of like the I yeah, yeah.
So you've heard that, right?
Yeah.
So so unless, in so the even so assumptions, right? So even if I say, whenever people do pronouns, I'm like, ah, okay, he him is fine, like whatever you want, um you know and I could say that better. But basically, even if I say he him pronouns, that doesn't mean that I'm a cis man.
Yeah.
So but so then, so that was one, right? This I had two. So the person saying, oh, you're so nice, cis men, blah blah blah. This other one, can we have someone running this meeting that's not a cis man? And then this third person didn't use cis, they just used man. And because this was actually pretty bad, I was so tired. I had, the night before, I had stayed up all night working on my album. And usually we're in person, but this time we were on Zoom. And this is some pretty touchy subjects, because we're in this medicine class. I'm studying medicine in a master's program. And so in Chinese medicine, you have, the physical ailments, but also there's like psycho emotional, ailments that people can have. And so, like, the discussion of the, diagnosis, etc., extends beyond physical ailments and diagnosis. So, like, somebody can have like an anxiety issue, somebody can have like, mental issues that are like affecting their bodies. So we got onto this topic of like um how using like pronouns. We got on to the topic of pronouns because in this progressive area a lot of the people we're going to be seeing are going to be using and preferring certain language, right? So then my teacher's partner actually transitioned about 5 years ago, and like their dad wouldn't use the pronouns that they liked, and like my teacher had said, you know um when my teacher started using the pronouns that her partner preferred, it like uh changed their consciousness. It affected their consciousness in some way. Okay, so this is a really, really, really touchy subject, right, of pronouns. But my teacher now is saying now that using pronouns has a psychological effect on the person you're using them to represent, right? So it can
That makes sense, actually. Like,
she used the phrase expand consciousness.
if you think about it, I mean, even like that being like even reinforced in everyday life, like what we're called by is a huge part of our like identity, if that makes sense.
So but so my question was, how does the word or the pronoun actually affect your consciousness?
Like in what ways?
Yeah, how is that possible? And I was tired, so I didn't use the right words, and I was like, why do the words matter is basically one of the questions I ask. So so I mean, it's basically like, so you have this preference, right? Because you have this preference, right? That's just what you want. And some people want that because they're trying it out, and it's because they're trying, right? So there's a varying spectrum of people with these requests. And so I said, I basically, how does this expand your consciousness? I seem to kind of have, you know, what my conscious experience is, and I don't really care too much about what somebody called me. So this made one of my classmates a little bit angry, because in their assumption that I was a man, and perhaps they believed I was a cis man and white, but people in this culture here not use white, but that's perhaps an undertone that gets picked up, which is whatever. So, but she was like, I'm upset about what Jake said, because, um, as a man, um, men haven't had to, really consider about their identity at all, because, um, you know, everything's just been handed to them and life is easy for them. And so, that's true, speaking generically, right? And that's sort of like the um filter, that's sort of the filter that, you know she just seeing me as a man, as the category of a man, right? And she's upset over it. And I did learn a lot about, when she said that, because um that's that's what I'm seen as. And unless I make an obscure request that is only meant to manipulate people and say, like, hey, can I change my pronouns to like human, or change my pronouns to something, so they at least think like, oh, Jake isn't this category. so so anyway, do you get what she said?
Yeah, but I do think that like they're being a little bit I think this is a problem that happens a lot. I think people get really hostile sometimes on the subject. People are like really passionate about it. And it's not that they don't have a right to be angry, but if someone's asking a question, you know, it's better like to have a conversation. And like to me, you were just asking a question because you wanted to know more information, and it sounds like that other person got really hostile to the question rather than trying to like just answer it, even though it is a touchy subject. Like I understand it's touchy, and it's very like it's very important. Like it's like someone's whole identity that they're talking about, and that's really important to some people to be called by their correct pronoun because it reinforces like that makes sense to me, and I get how it's touchy and I get why. But I also think like it doesn't help if someone's first response is anger, because I think it pushes other people away. Someone who might just be interested, I think that response is why we have a lot of people who become hostile then to the idea of someone having a pronoun that they weren't born with. I think it doesn't help to be like, especially when it's a light question. Like if someone's like pressing you and is like disrespecting you, that's like that person's an asshole. But if someone's asking a question, I don't know. I think there can be a level of hostility that arises. I've known a lot of people, though, I will say this, that have been really forgiving because, like, I know people who have different pronouns that they use, and I've gotten it wrong sometimes, but I don't think I've ever had anyone who has like been hostile to me because of that. They've just corrected me, I've apologized, and after that correction, there was like there was nothing. It's almost like they knew that. It's like if someone changed their name, right? And you're getting used to that name. I think most people understand it in that context, but you might run into certain people who are immediately hostile rather than forgiving. And I get where the anger comes from, but it can create like a really, yeah, it can make things a little bit like it makes it so there's no conversation that can occur. There's not even like then time for an apology or any sort of like going forward at that point. It's like almost putting a roadblock in the path. It feels like a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's so strange because um so like I even prefaced my question to my teacher that I'm coming from a place of ignorance. Because truly, I mean, I haven't been around modern society for a while. I kind of took a break from it. So I'm back in it now and I'm seeing like so I said, I'm coming from a place of ignorance, but I'm really curious. This is what my life experience has been. This person gets upset. They say, men haven't had to consider how they're presenting themselves, and women from a young age have to decide how they're presented, because that changes who they get to be in the world. So even absent of pronouns, uh some women get pushed towards focusing that what women are allowed to do has been narrowed in the modern culture. um and it's changing rapidly, but stay at home, have children, or like, basically just focus on your looks and like marry somebody that's rich. Like there's a limited amount of options. And so like when it's coming to not even pronouns, but presentation, um, there's been limited options. And so like I totally get it. Like, perhaps women have been thinking about this longer, um, about presentations and identification. Um, and I'm realizing now, like, there could be somebody who like hangs out with who I doesn't feel like they fit in with the group of like women focused on their looks and like being attractive, um, like models and stuff. Like they could have identified as something else, but the only way that they were able to survive was to, you know, um, invest in this sort of like presentation. Um, I I mean, that's happening, and I kinda didn't really recognize that. So I'm happy that she said that. Um, my response was to her was, um, I said that I was coming from a place of ignorance, and then I finally was able to bring in, so now that this was the 3rd time this has happened and I had done all the research, I said, "I haven't told anybody what I identify as." Um, and I said that a couple times, and then I was just like, "Yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, I was really just coming, from a place of curiosity, like, I wasn't really sure what my teacher meant by this." But then there was this mixed response, right? Because there's this altercation, it could have been perceived as, in front of, like, 20 other people. And so, like, I didn't think it was a big deal, right? But then I started getting, like, several texts saying, like, "Oh my gosh, Jake, you handled that so well." Um, one person said, "Yo, this is so cool." It was like this mic drop moment, like, "I've already told 5 of my friends about this and stuff." And, like, I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like, this is insanity. I was just asking a question, and then I responded this thing, and then all of a sudden now there's this wave, you know? So,
I think it's because
uh
everyone knows that like there's like always someone, and this is the case in like any sort of thing. There's someone who is like responds like kind of in an anger like kind of way, and even though people understand where that person's coming from, seeing somebody who handles it well and doesn't like escalate the conflict, rather comes from a place of understanding and kind of puts it to rest. And like I think I think people saw you too understand that that person was upset, but you didn't take it as like a reason for you to get upset and match their level. Instead, you took the path of like understanding, and I think that's what's like that's a good quality in a person, and that's a good, yeah, that's generally a good
yeah,
way to
but
handle things.
so these people just so happen to be, white people that texted me. So, white people are a minority in my class. Um, there's, more Asian and Hispanic people. So the only people that texted me that was interesting or good job were white people. And then when I asked other people, they thought it wasn't that big of a deal at all. Like, they didn't even think about it twice, just because, this person had their response. That was, what they said was that was their right, um, to have that response, right? And then once they shared that, then it was fine. And that
Oh,
you just let people have their response, because so that was some other feedback that I got about it.
was this like coming from a place of because like yeah, I didn't know that, like, so everyone that responded was like white. Was it from a place of like good job in how you handled it, like being like level headed, being understanding, saying like admitting you're coming from a place of ignorance, just trying to clarify that you're trying to be inquisitive, you just want have questions, you're just asking, right? Was it from that level, or was it more so like, ooh, you showed they, her, him, I don't know what the pronoun is for this person, but or ooh, you showed them, like what was like the what was the context? Did it feel like people were more so like you handled it well, or were they more like you somehow I don't know, like stuck it to him or something?
Yeah, so I mean, half and half. I think some of it was like there's this conversation about, white men, I guess. This ongoing conversation about, you know, the state of America, the oppression, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, this was a microcosm to some people of this. conversation. It's like, white men have all these problems, right? So using one person's lens, they were saying, white men, they've been getting a lot of shit, and that like they deserve some shit, but some of it's misplaced. So this was an instance when that was misplaced, right? Because I was just being curious, right? And this person was making assumptions. So in that contentious argument, the national argument, in this microcosm, that was sort of like a mic drop moment in the ongoing conversation about white men, right? The other one was just the other text I got was just, well, congratulations, like you handled that well. When people getting upset, sometimes, unfortunate things happen, and people say the things that they don't mean. So yeah, so it was both.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I feel like the more genuine place where that would come from is the place of, you know, the fact that you handled it well, you know? Because I think even like the way that you handled it showed that her perception of you as being the um whether she thinks it's the average or just like any cis male, it just proves that by your response, because the response from like the cis male that is like that fits that exact persona wouldn't have responded like that. It probably would have been more of like an escalation. The fact that like you came at it from a place of, just being inquisitive and admitting that there was some like some ignorance there. I feel like that it almost like disproves it, like that, not disproves that premise, but disproves that you are one of those people. Versus there,
Yeah,
yes, there is that societal standard, and like there's a very large population, I'm sure, that acts in that way, but not everyone fits into that group just because they're a cis male. And
yeah,
I think that's the good thing. I think the more sinister thing would be if a white person was to say, "Oh, none of that's true," and I'm just happy that you just stuck it to like a minority, a person of color. That's like, or identifies as a different, whatever it is, a minority group. That would be a bad reason to like text you and be like, "Yeah, bro," like that feels like sinister. The more like
yeah,
the nicer version is that they're just happy that you handled it in the way that you did.
yeah. But the funny thing is that I am now a minority in that class, but also in the city. So so yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. So anyway, so we were just talking about groups and yep, yep, definitions and all that stuff, man. So, I mean, I just can't I can't think about it. I just can't think about it because I can't do anything about it. So I'm just gonna keep going. People can think that I'm whatever they want.
I mean, it is an interesting, like, it's an interesting conversation, but yeah, there's really nothing. It's just an interesting, like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know, almost like even just a case study. It's just like an interesting moment.
Yeah.
That's an
Yep.
interesting story to me, at least. Like hearing that story. I find it interesting. Just an
Yeah.
interesting
I
interaction.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, an interesting interaction. And the synopsis is, I guess, sort of keep doing what I was doing before people kept started saying this to me, which is just just keep doing whatever you want to be doing. And like you just can't control what somebody else thinks about you. So
That's true. Yeah. Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
might
so
spend a little bit too much time, I think, sometimes, which isn't good, thinking about what other people think about me. I think it is like something that takes up a certain amount of space in my brain, admittedly. It definitely is. But
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
it's natural. It's natural, as a survival mechanism. Um, yeah, it just doesn't need to be on the act on the in the conscious mind. Um, yeah. But anyway, I mean, come on. They're just gonna think that, they just think this, dude. I mean, come on, dude. I got a beard, okay? How, you know, how creative do you think people can be, man? They're seeing a beard. What are they gonna think? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Because what if I was like a mouse, dude? Like, what if I felt like a mouse and how fucking hard would it be to convince people that I was a mouse? It would be impossible. It would be impossible. Okay. So,
I
so
mean,
why? So just, I know I'm a mouse. Why do I need them to tell me I'm a mouse?
you could you could just like if it became like really important for you to be a mouse, like like if there came a point where you were like other people have to recognize me as a mouse. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know what you could do. That would be a hard one, but you could like I guess you could like start eating more cheese and you could do the little mouse thing where like you like go around and like I don't know. I don't know how somebody would do it. They could try to like really like position themselves like a mouse and they could dress up like a mouse every day so nobody could tell them that they're not a mouse. Yeah, I guess they could just dress up like a mouse every day and then it's not like it would be obvious I guess at that point that you're a mouse if you had like the mouse costume. Ate cheese, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but the most important part would be I'd be a mouse living in this modern human context, right? And ultimately, it doesn't really matter if I'm a mouse or I'm a mongoose or a moose. Like, I just have like, the the experiences in life that I want to have and like the things that I want to create in this world. So I mean, as long as what I want to create in the world like isn't impeded upon by what people's beliefs about me are, um, then I can just keep going.
That really is true. I mean, there is no like if you personally don't care, it's no effect on you then, you know? You just keep going. That I'd say
Yeah,
that's a healthy way to look at it. I mean, especially if you can detach yourself somewhat from what like detach yourself from worrying that much about what people think about you. I think that can be a healthy step. I'm trying to. I think about it sometimes and I do mentally think to myself, I would like it if I, let some of that go a little bit.
yeah. And the question would be, yeah, what would it look like if you were to let some of that go?
It's a good question.
Um, yeah, yeah. You
I
can
feel
write
like
that on
I've
your
released
fridge.
some. I feel like it used to be worse, but maybe that's normal. Like I feel like high school is like the worst time about that. Like you really think about what people care about you. I've noticed like I've released a good portion of it, but I'm still holding on to a bit. And I always think might be healthy to even lose a little bit more, throw a few more down off the shoulders.
Yeah. Hey, and I just want to say this. Let's face it. It's easier still to be a man. So
Yep.
so if I want to just be a creative being, wouldn't I want like the most opportunity as possible? Like, I'm not going to be a mouse and, be able to like talk to lawmakers in this country. Um sit on boards, have board meetings and things. So we got to really think like we have who we are, and then we have like what we're perceived as, and like what we're perceived as, or even what we think, doesn't necessarily define who we are. And so it's just creativity, dude. It's just recognizing that you can be whoever you want, and then you also have who you are in the eyes of the community. And sometimes you have to be what people think you are to the highest degree in order to be effective in this world, or in a community.
Yeah, I I still don't like it though. I still don't like it.
Yeah, dude, it sucks, but also that's the thing. What I'm saying is called creativity. Okay, so let's say you like to draw with crayons. Okay,
I do.
and it's called creativity. So you're let's say you drew with crayons. You had three crayons: red, black,
Green.
and green. Yes. So you had the three crayons. And so let's say for 25 years, you only had these three crayons. And so, but then you would go to all these, this whole thing's probably going to fall apart. But let's say you go to an art fair and you find out that there's other crayons that exist. And let's say for this example that you were an elephant, you identified as an elephant. Okay. So so you go to the art fair. There's like this VIP section where they're selling all of the other crayons, and you want to get pink, blue, neon yellow, regular yellow, mustard yellow, all of the yellows, and a bunch of other colors, right? And all you have to do is show your ID, and you have to tell the person. So you look like you do now. People would maybe say you're a man. They would then all you had to say at the VIP counter is I identify as a man. And then what you could do is you could get all the crayon colors that you wanted, and you could go color like with the crayons. So it's just if you want the crayons, then you do it.
Yeah, but I feel like that comes with like an emotional toll, you know? Like for that elephant. I feel like the elephant is now there's something inside of them that might feel betrayed, you know? They just wanted to have the crayons and be able to color as an elephant. And now
Oh,
they've been
but you get to
excluded.
be so but you get to be an elephant. You just have to tell the person at the counter that you're a man. That's it.
There
You
might
could
be though
go home and
that emotional toll. There's not just like a physical cost. Like there's an emotional component to that. Like you're it's almost like for a certain good now you're sacrificing now there's an emotional cost to it now. But not only that, what if this store like is like, you look like an elephant, get out of here? All of a sudden now that elephant can't, because on their ID it says that they're an elephant. Now they might be excluded. Now if they think that they're an elephant but they look like a man who can get these crayons, sure, they could do that. But the new cost for them is it's not like they're not like maybe excluded based off of how they look, but now they're excluded. They have to lie to get in. And then there's like this emotional component where, it's a trade. You're trading.
yeah, okay, it's called trading, but check this out. You get all the colors of the crayons, dude. You're stuck with red, black, and green. You're fucked, dude. What kind of things? Hey, draw a rainbow. You fucking can't. Okay, so all you need to do is just say that, and then you get the crayons, and it's a net positive. Okay, and it's called creativity. That's the rules. That's the rules that we're playing by. It's called creativity by using what you have.
What if, what if this crayon shop, this the little crayon shop, a crayon, this little shop, it's doing this right, and all of a sudden there's these elephants, and these are the physical embodiment of the elephant, right? These are the people who like identifies the elephant. These are the elephants. They're mad now. A stampede of elephants now, because they could have just made this a fair crayon shop where everyone can get the crayons. It's all cool. We let all the different, like, animals can get the crayons at this shop, right? But now there's a stampede. This crayon shop has created a stampede, and maybe I don't even own this shop, right? But I'm just a guy who's at this shop, and I'm like, I'm happy I can have all these crayons, but guys, I really think like there's people are getting mad out there. I really think we should just make this crayon shop better. And the guy's like, no, they can just. There's people who can just say that they're the crayons, that they're a guy, that they're a man, so they can get the crayons. And I'm like, but then the stampede comes, and now the whole shop is gonna get destroyed. Because we could have just, fixed the innate problem of limiting the crayon supply.
Yeah, we could have fixed the innate problem.
Yeah.
But for the time being, get those fucking crayons, man. Because why not? Because you can have them.
If you can. I feel like it depends. Like, if somebody, there might be different people willing to sacrifice different things. Like,
yeah, but
there
it's
might
not
be
a sacrifice. It's just a part of the fabric of how things work.
There might be an emotional toll to that sacrifice, though. There's a mental sacrifice. There's like an emotional value has now been traded in for these crayons. Yeah, and maybe you need to like go back for more crayons, and all of a sudden it's reinforcing this mechanism that you don't get to be the elephant anymore. You now.
Yeah, but that's wrong. That's fucked up. That's not how you have to do it. All you have to say is, what is creativity? Okay, creativity means taking what there is and making what you want out of it. Okay, so in this instance, the elephant wants all of the colors of the crayons. Okay, what is there's this rule. You go in, you show your idea, you say you're a man, and then you get the crayons. So it's called creativity, right? So what there is there's this rule. What you want is the crayons. You do that. That's it. I mean, that's how simple it is. If you don't want the crayons, don't get them.
What if that person ends up becoming an elephant, though? Like, what if someone like goes forward and like now they look like an elephant, and now they can't get those crayons?
Well, that's part of the creativity. So what they wanted was to look like an elephant more than they wanted crayons.
But that trade, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude, it's a choice
like that,
though.
it's
So
like
it's
an unfair trade.
Choice.
But like, yeah, it's a choice. But some people don't have to make that choice, and so someone else would be thinking this shop sucks, and it would suck. This would be a bad shop. Sucks. It's a bad shop.
You want the crayons or not?
But I mean, that's like gonna make the store is gonna get destroyed. The store is gonna get like trampled one day. We like this is a bad store.
You want
the
crayons or not? You want the crayons or not?
I'd be saying this store is bad. It's bad. Like if the
guess you don't want them.
You know
I guess you don't want them, bro.
If the elephants start, like, look, I'm just a normal guy, right? I can get my crayons, but let me put it this way: when it comes down to it, if I see like the elephants like are upset, I'm gonna probably be like, I'm destroying this store with the elephants. Like, I'm not gonna stand here and keep getting crayons. I'd rather like I just. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here and like be the bad guy with the store that is like with the elephant exception. Like, this is a crazy store. This is a bad store. I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah,
I'd be like, this is bad.
Yeah, but okay. So now you turn into this moral thing, which is great. But check this out. The whole premise was, do you want the crayons or not? And so it's not like, oh, it's bad. Since the people giving us the crayons are bad, I can't have them. It's, do you want them or do you not want them?
Yeah, and I would take it's like right now, right? Like if you
Yeah,
like if
bro.
there's nothing you can do, like right now, right? Let's say you're in the crayon shop and you're like, this is like I can't do anything. Like you talk to the owner, and the owner's like, get out of here. What are you? You're like, I own the shop. Get out of here, right? Like try to make management next time, and I'd be like, well, I can't do that. Yeah, sure. I'm just taking the crayons that I can get, right? Like there's even like the luxury crayons that like only the managers can get two behind, but you can't have those. But I would take the crayons that I can get. Sure, I'm gonna do what I can, but I still think that like for that person who doesn't naturally, just get in, has to like lie to get in. I feel like there's an additional cost for that person, you know, that I might
There
not
could
have.
there could be. There could
Yeah,
be.
there's a little extra. There's a side cost. And then there's people who don't even have the option to take that cost, the emotional cost. They just can't get
Yeah, it
in.
sucks. They can't get crayons. That sucks, dude.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yep. It
But
sucks.
I will admit that I can't say for the person who has to lie to get the crayons, right? I can only assume there's an emotional toll there, and maybe some of them would do it. They might even feel bad about it, but they might go to get the crayons. Me, I can only come from my experience where the crayons are there. I can have access to them. I'll take them because I mean I can't do anything to change this. But if shit's going down, I'm not supporting this thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Hey, that's
supporting this
fine.
because it's bad. I'm not supporting this,
That's
but
fine.
there's nothing I can do right now until there is anything that I can do. Yeah, I'll take the crayons. You know,
I mean, but that doesn't seem like creativity. That seems like a compromise. I guess I'll just take the crayons for now. Hey, what's your creativity, man? What are you trying to create with what kind of art pieces are you trying to make with these crayons, man?
can I like
You know?
can I like make like posters that says like this shop is bad?
If
And
that's
I'll
what your
like hammer
creativity
it up
is,
outside.
if
Yeah,
that's what your creativity is, yeah, you can.
the shop sucks.
You got to do whatever
It's
you
bad.
want. That's the whole thing. As long as you're honest about what's happening, then you're able to use your creativity.
I feel like me in
Yeah.
real life though, I'm a little bit like I find myself going through like pessimistic waves where I'm pessimistic about the shop. Like it may sound like I'm someone who would like be like, "We got to change this shop, guys." I'm not that guy. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit of like a doom and gloom where I'm like, "This shop, that he's never selling the shop to somebody else." Or he's never gonna be like fired by the big There's like even a corporate in this. I don't know why there's a corporate in this world, but there is. Anyways, he's never leaving, right? Like this shop is never gonna change the way it is. This sucks, and you start feeling bad because there's nothing you can do about the shop. You're just like, it's the only crayon shop in town, and like everyone has to go to this crayon shop to get their crayons. There's no other places to go, so you're just like, this crayon's
Yeah,
the only
bro.
way, and I don't know.
Yeah, so in that framework, then you would think, okay, so the guy, this guy's never gonna leave. So then what you might do is you might you know, it's called creativity, remember? So if you're honest about that, then you can see, okay, what is there in this world? Is there people who write laws? Do laws affect people? Who makes them? Who signs them? What's up with that? And so then maybe you could look into crayon legislation, man. Go to law school. You can maybe start to date this guy's wife, and then all of a sudden now you have influence over the crayon distribution. So it's um it's all called creativity, man. It's just creativity.
Yeah, that takes a certain amount of like optimism though, like to be the guy or woman to say or they them, whatever pronoun you go by, anyways,
No, no,
to
no.
be
You can't do that, dude. That's
wait,
not
no, no,
how it
whether
works.
I mean whether you're a
You
he,
can't
they
say
them, or she,
no, no,
uh,
no.
or,
That's not when you use pronouns.
Well,
because
okay, do it.
you wouldn't say guy, girl, they, them. That's not.
Wait, isn't there
So,
something? Okay, I might actually like not be fully. So I know that there's the pronouns he, they, and then there's she. But there's also there's man, woman. But then there's also like some people don't know what they identify as, whether they identify as cis or whether they
non
identify
non-binary.
as yeah non-binary. That's what I'm thinking of. Non-binary. Okay. Anyways, what I was trying to say is to be that person um who changes all that, you have to be somewhat optimistic because you have to go into it thinking you got a shot at doing something. Sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, I could try to maybe go that route, but I don't even like. Sometimes I'm so pessimistic. I'm like, I'm not gonna get like, especially like if I wanted to like, you wanted to make some like real changes. I'm almost like someone's gonna. I sometimes am so pessimistic. I'm like, someone's gonna kill you if you get that fly that close to the sun. You know, like you think of a lot of like political leaders in the U.S. It's like they get assassinated, and you're like, oh, that's like someone didn't like that too much. Especially
Yeah,
like the
but dude,
FBI
so
tried to get
you're not
Martin Luther
getting.
King to kill himself. Like all of a sudden, like there's like some powers who are like, who definitely are like really resistant to some people who are like, hey, this is bad. What we're doing here, this is bad, and they're like, no, no, this is good. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, but if that's the reality, then the creativity is different, and I think that's what you're missing.
yeah, it might be. I'm working on it. That's another thing. I try to be more optimistic. I do. I try to be more optimistic, but I
But
sometimes
why? But why? Because it's the creativity, right? So you can be pessimistic and still be creative.
that's true. That's definitely true. Well, I'm trying to work on that too. In that case, I'm trying to be more, a little bit more creative. I've been actually in a slump creative wise, so that isn't necessarily false.
Well, it depends on what you define creativity as. Because what I define creativity as was going to the store and buying some crayons. So it's not just art. It's been commodified into art. Um, but creativity is everything. Creativity is what you're doing right now. Um, it's anytime you're thinking about the future is called creativity.
Sometimes when I do that though, I feel like it's bad. Like yeah, like especially if you just start like worrying about stuff.
Yep, that's a way to be creative.
Sometimes I don't like that type.
I know, but then so the creativity, dude, just do you get it? It's okay. So then now it's this. Okay, now it's this. Okay, now do something out of it. Oh, it's this now? Okay, now do something about it. Okay, now this is okay, now this is happening. All right. Okay, as long as you accept the facts as they are, now it's time to be creative.
I like that. I like that.
It's an undeniable strategy.
I gotta get better at trying to do something like that. Cause I mean I feel like a lot of the times I don't know if this is true for other people, but you'll sit and you'll think about something and then you'll dwell on it and it just sits and it just it's like you're just cooking.
Yeah, but it's creativity, man.
But at least I mean if you do something, even if it's like a small something, like a small thing, at least that's some way to, move on to something next.
Yeah, dude. Well,
I feel like looking at your not right now, but you ever had your astrology chart looked at?
No,
Okay.
I
Well,
think
those are
I'm a Leo.
yeah. Well, there's a lot to it. I think maybe looking at your astrology chart might help with this give some insight into this creative pattern.
Hmm. I've never much felt like a Leo though. I have to admit, like there's been people who have been like, "Oh, you must be like a really like assertive person," and I'm like, "No, no."
Yeah, but that's the thing. So nobody knows what they're talking about, and especially in astrology, modern Western astrology. Um, yeah, bro. I'm not gonna tell you I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I think I might have a better idea than honestly the vast majority. Um, there was this guy named Stephen Forrest. He's been an astrologer for 40 years, and he did a reading for Sting. You know the guy. Is he from the Police? Anyway, Sting
I,
endorsed this
yeah.
guy. He endorsed him on the cover of his book. Sting, the guitar player, I guess, or the singer from the Police. So that's just a plug. But so Steven, I read his book several times, and his student, who trained with him for 10 years, now Deborah, she's been reading my chart. I've had my chart read by her 4 different times, and it's been pretty cool to get that info and then to have an ongoing conversation about what that means at any given period in your life, because that stuff changes over time.
I'm always interested in trying new things. I never like. No, maybe I don't want to say I would try. I I don't want to say I would try everything, but I would try most things before declining. Like if someone told me like like to like jump off this bridge, bro, I'd be like no, I'm not trying that. But within reason, like I'm always willing to try, especially if it has if it can help. So yeah, I'm interested.
You're interested in what?
I'd give it a try. I'd like I'd get the charts read the ch- the charts read the charts read.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the first one um uh is 2 hours. So
Oh damn.
so what happens is, so you have your birth chart. Okay. So what for that you need to know where you're born. I believe Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah,
Um
I think I was at
yeah,
that the I can't remember the name.
Overlake.
Yeah, the Overlake Hospital.
But
Well, I don't know if
you
that's
need to know.
bad. Should people online know where I don't think it matters. I don't know what someone could do with that information. Like it's not like they could like call up the hospital and be like,
Well, you try to
"Hey, I
avoid
need
as
to."
much as possible, but
Yeah,
nobody's gonna see this, dude.
yeah, probably not. No.
Um, so so the first one's 2 hours. You need to know what time you were born at.
Hmm.
And then, so that's going to produce a birth chart, which is a circle with 12 sections on it, and one section for each month of the calendar. And then all the planets in our solar system get, depending on what your date, location, and time is, get placed onto this chart in different places.
Hmm.
Okay. So the woman, she's been studying the cycles of nature for the last 40 years of her life. And basically, like, the cycles of nature intimately related with um the cycles of human beings. Like, sort of, you can just imagine your personality in the heart of winter versus in the peak of summer. Um and how those things might influence your personality. Well, there's a bunch of all the also micro changes in the solar system that have been studied and then been linked to personality and different traits of humans, etc. So this study produces this one singular chart. Now the first appointment is 2 hours describing that chart. It'll probably say Leo sun, because that's your sun sign. That's what most people talk about. Have you heard of any of this stuff before?
No, not beyond the Leo, or like, just like I've only been described the basic like 12-month kind of all the different animals and everything. I've only been described that portion. Never anything
Okay.
more.
Okay. Well, anyway, so this is the birth chart, okay? And basically what the chart is a circle. You can imagine in the very center of the circle is the Earth, and then all around it are, Venus, Mercury, the sun, the moon, all the other planets, Saturn, Uranus, they even include Pluto. And so this Earth in the middle, and then all around are the different planets. And depending on where all the planets are and how they're related to one another, there's quite a bit of uh, information that can be shared with you about about your life and your personality. And even if it's not all right, it's at least like a good mental exercise to go through, to say like, oh, just like people were saying, oh, you must be very assertive being a Leo. Like, it may not be true, but it might have given you some access or allowed you to have an internal conversation about yourself and your personality. I think it's a really good um, tool and system to allow those kind of internal conversations to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I can see how somebody could even if that wasn't necessarily their personality, right? Like, again, like, I don't think I'm an assertive person, but even if that did have some kind of like, it could be like a confidence booster, I guess. It could come in different forms. I, it's weird because I've never really felt like. Then again, I actually don't know that much about the Leo sign because I've only been like told that, like, I think like there's like assertive, or like you're supposed to be more charismatic, which I don't really even feel all that charismatic. I mean, look at me. I was just telling you that, like, I didn't shower for 3 days, and then I was like, I'm just getting through my day, just not trying not to stand out that much. But
Yeah, but dude,
I don't
so
know.
so here's just one thing right off the bat. It's not that simple. It's not that simple, like this system that I'm talking about. There's like horoscope astrology, which is like what everybody's talking about. Oh, what's your sun sign? And then trying to, you know, say that that means anything is kind of a waste of time. It's a hogwash. It cannot really be compared to what I'm talking about, which just for instance, there's the sun sign, but there's also the moon sign, which has, in most cases, an equal importance in the part of personality, um, which is not talked about in horoscope astrology. So we have um, the sun sign, which is kind of like the ego, like the personality, but we have the moon sign, which is like the emotional core and sort of like how you feel good about yourself. Um, and it's also related to the moon, right? So we think of the moon, having many, many cycles over the course of time, as opposed to the sun only, you know, appearing to go around the earth one time every year. So it's also about like rhythmicity and kind of like patterns. So the moon sign could be like a more introverted sign and have an equal weight to the Leo sign.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
right there, it's already been differentiated from what you've known to be in the past, right? And in this specific example, you can see that there's, two main signs, but there's also a third one which can have equal weight, which is basically whatever sign was in the horizon as the sun was rising on the day that you were born. So that has an equal weight to those in some cases. And so that's sort of like what sort of mask you wear when you first meet someone, like how someone like perceives you, before they really get to know you. So that's another aspect to your personality that um, this system puts language to.
I'd be interested. I'd be interested in giving it a try.
Well, if you're interested, that's cool. I mean, when I've got it done, I've had somebody there who's known some stuff, about me, um, just to like ask questions on my behalf. So if you do want to do it, I'd love to be present if that would be okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Well, um, I can give you this. I can give you this woman's number, Deborah. She's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah. That sounds good. Wait,
Yeah,
how much is it too? Because I do gotta like I'm the college it's the college life over here.
I don't remember, but it might be as much. The first one might be as much as $200.
That's a little bit expensive. I'm gonna have to think about it, but
Hey, it's whatever you want to do, dude. But I mean, uh, yep, it's whatever you want to do.
all right, all right.
I'll send it to you anyway. Um, I'm gonna have to go. Um,
Yeah, we actually it wasn't a short episode. I thought it
no,
was gonna be shorter, but we got an hour and a half in.
yeah, nice, yeah, yeah. I
Alrighty.
was just laying on the ground most of the time. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna email you her email, and then you would just say, hey, Jake. You can call me Jake Steele. Jake sent me your contact. You just ask for a quote. Maybe even ask for a student discount as a college student.
Oh, I wonder if she would do that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and just see. Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, peace to the hot dog nation.
That's right. Hot Dog Radio. We got 0 views this episode, but you never know. There might be someone who comes along. Maybe someone gets addicted to this show and they watch all of the Not Your Cousins podcast. They watch all of these episodes, and now you have like honestly a year's worth of content, probably more than a year, probably like if you pace yourself. I mean, like 3 years, you could make this stuff last. You really could.
You really could. You really could.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.